Hey guys, it's Jessica here. Today I'm going to be talking about a few ways on how graduate school is different than undergraduate. So who am I? I am a graduate student, no kidding, for occupational therapy, so I'm getting my master's. And I finished my first semester of the program and now I'm a few weeks into the second semester. So I know what grad school's like, but undergrad wasn't that far away, so I'm still aware of what that was all like. And I'm in these scrubs today because I just finished my first clinical day. We spend about 12 hours at each site, so I had my first one and it went well today. So one way I've found it to be different is grade expectations. So in my program, you have to have a 79% or higher as your final end grade, or else you risk remediation and potentially being kicked out of the program. So you really need to get above 79% on pretty much all of your assignments, so you're not at risk for failing out, having to remediate and take the class again. But with that being said, once you're over that 79%, no one really cares if you get an A or B in the class. Everyone just cares that you're passing. So you don't really need to care if you're like getting straight A's on your assignment. You just want to make sure you're above that, 79% threshold. Whereas an undergraduate, like, people would care, oh, I want to get A's in all my classes and whatnot. And now it's like, I really just want to pass the class so I don't have to remediate it. And another thing with the classes is they're all very fast-paced, and the way the classes are held is a bit different. So for a lot of my classes in graduate school, our teachers will give us work to prepare for class. And then this could be like an online PowerPoint that we have to go over, voiceovers, research articles, things like that. And then we'll come to class and talk about what we prepared. And so we're not coming to class and hearing a lecture like in undergrad, where I could just show up, not really know what we're going to talk about, have the teacher lecture me, and leave and be fine. For graduate school, I've been having to do stuff to prepare for class, and then after class kind of go over my notes and try and synthesize everything all together. So it's definitely a lot more preparation, and I'm not just able to go to class and sit through a lecture. There will be some classes that lecture more than others, but a lot of my classes, we do a lot of discussion, we do a lot of projects, and because we do outside boring work, then we're able to be more interactive in class and practice the skills on each other, which I find to be really helpful in terms of truly ingraining the knowledge in my mind, because we're practicing, we're doing it multiple times on each other. There's a lot of repetition, but it requires that you do some of the boring stuff outside of the classwork. And by boring, I just mean listening to PowerPoints or reading compared to doing that in class. Nothing is really truly boring to me because I really like what I'm learning, but compared to interactive stuff, that's why I'm saying that word. And I guess also with classes, because of everything I just said, they're very fast-paced. So you could be doing multiple chapters of content in one class period. And so if you're not keeping on top of things, or if you happen to miss a class, you're very behind. So you need to do your best to stay on top of the readings, because they'll all pile up if you don't do them when they're supposed to be due. And no one's checking up on you to be like, hey, Jessica, did you understand everything from this lecture or these readings? No one's doing that. You have to be the one to initiate and go to the office hours and be like, hey, professor, or doctor in this case, I didn't understand this. And normally the teachers, at least all my teachers, they have an open door policy, so you're able to walk on in if they're there and not have a meeting and just be like, hey, I'm a little bit confused. and they're all like so happy to help because they love what they're doing and they love teaching. But you have to be the one to initiate that. For my undergraduate degree, I had a psych major and a soc and writing minor. And I kind of, as with most undergraduate degrees, I was able to pick what classes I wanted to take each semester, and I was able to have a certain amount of elective classes. So I did watercolors, first aid, kickboxing, kind of just extra things to make sure I got to the certain threshold of credits you need to graduate. In undergrad and graduate school, you don't have that. So I knew coming into the program exactly what classes I would be taking each semester. So my whole 2.5 years was laid out for me in the beginning, and there's no elective classes, and there's no really choosing what classes I take when. So if I don't like an 8 a.m. class, in undergrad I could have avoided them all. Now I don't have a choice. So you kind of just have to deal with a schedule you don't like or prefer. There has been a few options for class times, and those have just been lab times, and that's because they can't have all 32 of us in a lab at once. So a few, but like not really. Undergrad, you could transfer to a different program at a different university if you didn't like the one you were at. In graduate school, you can't do that. So what I mean is, I started at my school, and I either have to complete it all the way through and graduate, or I drop out and have to start first semester at a different school. There's no transferring my credits from this master's program to a different master's program at a different school. And that's because they call it like a lockstep or something. It's because they all build on each other. They're just not able to transfer. So if you want to switch schools, which I would not recommend in grad school, you would have to start all the way over again. It doesn't even matter if you're 1 semester away from graduating, like no one's going to care. But if you're 1 semester away from graduating, like you can deal with it for 1 more semester if you truly want to go into this field. So I would not recommend trying to transfer in grad school because it just doesn't happen. Lastly, and maybe the best thing in my opinion, is a lot of graduate schools are competitive, which means that they only select the best people for the program. And so you're going to be with a lot of people. Your classmates, they're all going to care about what they're learning because they're making a big sacrifice to be in the program. And more likely than not, they're going to be good students. And so with that comes an environment that truly cares about school. They care about learning. They care about helping people, as in my profession. And that's just a good classroom environment to be in. Because I remember in undergrad, there's a lot of times like I know my classmates didn't care about some of the classes because they weren't really sure what they wanted to do in their life. Or they were at school really just to play sports, or like numerous other reasons. But in grad school, I know all of my classmates, they're very focused and driven and enjoy school enough to go to 6 years extra. And they love the profession because they're sacrificing a lot to study it and then make it their future career. So you're around a lot of people with a lot of passion, and that's great, and it's really inspiring. And I just really like that about graduate school. So that was just a few ways that I've found that grad school is different than undergrad. And it is a big change, but it's doable if you are truly dedicated to what you want to learn. So hopefully this was helpful to you if you're thinking about going to grad school. Were you expecting any of these differences? If you are in grad school, do you have any of the same realizations? Let me know. And thank you for watching. Bye.